welcome back to the channel. We have been making so much progress on the Street FC. I have so many updates to show you. One of the biggest ones, we are officially done with all of the fabrication needed, at least all the necessary fabrication needed, which I will explain what I mean in a little bit. We have made so much progress since the last video. This is our mock-up engine. This is the one that we took apart in the last video. It's gutted and we just threw it in there so we could finish mocking up everything else. Marco came over and finished up our intercooler piping and it is so good. Everything is basically inside of the frame rails and it follows the frame rail directly down and then to our intercooler. He ended up putting 90s at the end of the intercooler to make that a lot nicer and just be able to go straight and then right on the inside of the car. And he did an amazing job. It looks great and I'm so stoked that it's finally done. Now because I got the FD intake from Vargas, before we could finish the intercooler piping, I had to source an FD throttle body. So shout out and big thank you to rx7parts.com. He has a bunch of FD parts and we'll be adding a bunch of FC parts very, very soon. He's actually local, so he brought over the FD throttle body that I needed and this Gretty elbow so that Marco could finish up the rest of the intercooler piping. I think the FD upper and lower literally looks so much better. If you remember in the video where Nick and I were trying to figure out how in the world we were going to get AC to work on this, it was going to be very congested right here because the AC compressor was sitting up a lot higher. But Vargas hooked it up with a manual rack AC bracket and look how much lower the AC sits now. It's way back there and tucked in, giving us all of this room to nicely route our intercooler piping and have everything looking a lot cleaner. I didn't know that this was even an option and that it would dramatically change that location. And I'm gonna be using an MR2 electric power steering setup with this car. And if you notice, this brand new, beautiful Mishimoto radiator is in the car. Marco welded on our brackets to it, and we used their universal shroud kit that comes with the 16-inch fan, but we took the slim fan off and upgraded to this high flow race fan by Mishimoto. It fit in the same area. We have a ton of room and this is looking great. I've been using Mishimoto products for many, many years now and absolutely love them. Our brand new radiator completes our full lineup of Mishimoto cooling products on display, stashing them up. We got our intercooler, our power steering and oil coolers, and our radiator and race fan right there, just stacking. One new development on the AC front that kind of changes absolutely everything but might be amazing. I found an adapter that lets you put a brand new RX8 setup onto this car. So I'm not 100% it's gonna work with this block. We think that it should. So I ordered it and when it shows up, I'll figure that out and let you guys know because that's actually pretty amazing. I mean, RX7 FC AC parts aren't cheap and they're old. So if I could get all the newer RX8 stuff and the RX8 condenser has the dryer built in, that would be really, really nice. So I'm still in the early stages of figuring that out. The bracket and adapter are on the way. So yeah, those are all of the updates. I'm super stoked to be mostly done with all the fabrication, at least all the necessary fabrication. And what I mean by that is I'm contemplating if I want to actually have aluminum fabricated radiator piping. I don't know. What do you guys think? I think it would look pretty cool. Today we're going to be focusing on getting the rest of our fuel setup in the car with D-Schwartz. Now I mentioned in my last video that we are trying to keep this car as simple as possible, Street FC, and just trying not to overcomplicate it. So we are using the stock hard lines for fuel that are on the car, and basically all we're having to do is adapt the ends to AN. So I just finished doing that to our front line. This one that has a compression fitting on it now, and then there's one more further down. And today I got a box from D-Schwartz. Let's open it up. have an FD upper and lower. Obviously I needed FD fuel rails, and D-Shorts makes these as well. So I got these in black, and then I think I ordered 1,000 and 2,200 cc injectors. I might change to 1,800 with the 1,000. I'm still figuring that out with Vargas right now because I want it to be very easy to drive. So for now, I have a set of 1,000 and a set of 2,200s from D-Shorts as well. All of our shiny new DW products, all things that I have used before on other builds, except for this RX7 fuel rail. So this is the top feed conversion that they make, and I am so excited that I get to use this. It comes with all of the spacers, adapters, and hardware that you will need. This specifically is for FD style engine, or if you're like me, just using the upper and lower from FD, then you can use this as well. So I'm gonna work my way from the front of the car to the back of the car, get our rails on there so that I can make lines to everything, because we are still using this mock-up engine, but when the real engine gets in there, I really want everything ready to go. So I'm gonna be able to make lines from everything. I wanna mount our regulator as well and get that plumbed up, and then we'll work our way towards the back of the car for our DW 400 that I'm gonna be putting in the car, and our filter as well.
I've been giving you the worst of me. Now you wanna stay the night. Pretty how you work hard for me, while forgetting how to talk. Nah, I don't like no humble beats. Just go and slice it up. Now it's time to marinate, and right after we're done, I like it when you're looking like that. Don't like it when you shit, chat shit. I like it when you
do the fuel filter when I do the pump and have it in the rear of the car. But Adam made a good point that it would be a lot more serviceable and easier to check on if it was accessible from the front of the car, because it would have had to been like shoved up in the rear of the car. So we ended up looking for a place to mount the fuel filter, and Adam found stock bolt holes that were already drilled into the frame that just worked exactly. All we had to do was oval out the bracket holes that came with the fuel filter, and it bolted right up. So we got that in the car, and this morning I was just finishing up the lines to our regulator right there in the front, and then obviously we had to make new lines that go to the fuel filter that is shoved right down in there. That is literally a perfect spot for it, and I'm super happy with how everything is laid out. I already tested the regulator placement with our upper on and throttle body, and it clears everything, and we will be able to read this gauge through everything as well, which will be pretty cool. I got the new LZ Spec Fade D-Schwartz fuel pressure gauge on there, looking awesome. All of our lines are officially routed and done, except for our line that actually goes from the filter to the feed line at the bottom. The filter itself is so close to the actual feed line that I'm gonna need to do hard line. I ordered the correct fittings and hard lines, just make that last little line there when it gets in like a day or so. So that's the only line that I need to finish. I also ordered a different fitting so I don't have to go fitting to fitting here. This is such a tight clearance space that I did not have the right fittings because I didn't realize how little space that I have here. And as you could see, there was one line that I did not use PTFE for, and it's really annoying me, so I'll probably redo this later, but you won't see it. The reason why I didn't use PTFE for this one is because I didn't have 180 bends in PTFE. Ended up just using regular hose for those to get these 180s, so maybe I'll redo that later. I don't know. The PTFE is probably overkill, but I like it and feel better with it. So now I'm gonna work in the back of the car and get our DW400 fuel pump installed in the car, and then we should be good to go. Our fuel pump is assembled in our stock hanger. You did have to cut the stock hard line for the feed. Here is the piece that I cut out because obviously this pump is a lot taller than the original one that was in here. But D-Schwartz actually just came out with a new DW400 that is shorter. So if you guys are going to be doing this on your car, if you get the shorter one, you might not have to cut this at all. Now, I couldn't fit a flare tool in there to re-flare the stock one, so I just tightened this top clamp as tight as I can. That's definitely something I'm going to check on. You shouldn't have to re-flare it, but it's definitely better that way, but I couldn't do it just because of where this was located. If you're gonna do this, like I said, get the short one. What else do I have to do? Oh, in order to fit the filter onto the actual pump, I did have to trim. There was like a little lip underneath here. So for this to seat properly, I did trim that off. For our wiring, our main ground goes to here, and then this other black wire that comes with all the pumps is like a secondary additional ground if you want to use that. So I routed the second one into the back of this, and then the pump power goes right here on the stock one. Now, with the DW400, I am going to wire up a relay completely separately and then get a much better chassis ground right here. This is where the ground actually goes, like the main one, into the hanger. So I'm going to end up doing a much better chassis ground and full relay thing once this is actually in the car and we're moving on to finishing up the wiring on everything. But here she is. Now let's throw her back into the car. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. Okay, got that. Okay, all right. And we're in. Okay, that is it for our fuel video for the Street FC. I'm gonna be doing the wiring for that when we take a look at a bunch of wiring stuff that needs to get sorted on this car. We should have our ECU planned very soon, and the RX-8 AC adapter should be here like tomorrow. So I am freaking out. I really hope that that works out. And I ordered a electric power steering kit from MA Motorsports, which I'm excited about because they have a really nice bracket for it. That should be here soon. And I'm just gonna keep plugging away at things I can get done before we build our engine, to put it in, and hopefully we'll be mostly ready to go. So that is it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.